welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of Devendu's podcast. Today I'm going to tell you a story about the story of the merchant's son. Sagar Datta was a merchant who had a handsome young son. One day, he observed that his son had bought a very costly book. But the book contained only one verse. You get what is destined for you. When the merchant realized that his son was a fool to buy a book like this, with so much cost, the only one verse, he grew very angry. He said, "How can you do well in business when you can buy a book which only contains one verse? Get out of my house and never show me your face again." The young man was utterly dejected for being driven out by his father. He started traveling with his one book with him. He learned the verse well and kept repeating it all the way. On his way, he arrived in a village. The villagers asked him his name, and he replied from the book, "You get what is destined for you." Thus, the young man became known as "You get what is destined for you." One day, the princess of the country visited a festival and saw a handsome prince who was also attending the festival. She fell in love immediately and asked her attendant to find a way to send a message to the handsome prince. She wrote a note and gave it to her attendant. The attendant gave the note to the young merchant's son by mistake. He read what she wrote in the note. The note said, "I have fallen in love with you the very moment I have set my eyes on you. Please meet me in the castle. You will find a rope hanging from one of the windows which will lead you to my room." He thought, "I will honor the wishes of this princess to meet me in person." When he climbed up the rope and entered the prince's room, it was very dark. The princess thought he was a prince at the festival and received him warmly. She served him food and drink and entertained him in every manner. She said, "I have deeply fallen in love with you. I shall have no other man as my husband except for you. Please tell me what you have in mind." The merchant's son replied, "You get what is destined for you." She was surprised to hear the prince speak and immediately enlightened her room. She got furious and she realized that he was not the handsome prince she thought him to be and ordered him out of the room. The young man was sad on being treated in such a manner, without being at fault, and walked into a nearby temple. He decided to spend the night there and fell asleep. The temple remained empty and the night watchman carried out tasks of ill repute during the night. He wanted the young man to leave and said, "This temple is old and broken. You may sleep in my home." Thus, the young man went to his house. But he made a mistake and got into the wrong room, where the watchman's daughter was waiting for her lover to arrive during the father's absence. In the darkness of the night, the watchman's daughter mistook him for her lover and exchanged garlands in front of the picture of God. Thus, according to the traditions, they got married. The young man said, "You get what is destined for you." When she heard this, she realized she had done a mistake and thought, "Such a mistake is bound to happen when you rush into something without thinking sufficiently about it." She cursed him and threw him out of the house. Saddened for being treated in such a manner, without being at fault, he was walking slowly. And when he was walking, he saw a marriage procession approaching. They had magnificent clothes and wore precious jewels. He followed the groom's procession, which was going to the bride's home, where a lavish ceremony was arranged. All of a sudden, a mad elephant rushed towards the procession, and everybody ran away. The bride stood there in the middle of the rush, too afraid to run. When he saw all this, the young man got hold of a huge nail and jabbed it into the elephant. The elephant got frightened and ran away. After a while, when the bride's friends and relatives returned, she said, "At the moment where my life was in danger, there was none to help me except this courageous stranger. I will marry none of them, but only this man. This is my firm resolution." The groom's friends and relatives were offended by these words, and there was a heated argument. When the words reached around, the king had to come himself to pacify everybody and stop the argument. Everyone, including the princess and the watchman's daughter, came to the place. The king asked the young man, "You were present in the ceremony. You saved the would-be bride and everybody from the elephant, it is said. I ask you to explain the whole thing to me." All the young man said was, "You get what is destined for you." The princess and the watchman's daughter were embarrassed to hear these words. When the king heard this and saw the princess and the watchman's daughter blushing, he demanded to know the truth. The night watchman's daughter confessed of marrying him by mistake and said, "It was my destiny and I do not repent it." The princess explained to the king that she had spent time with him by mistake and said, "It was my destiny and I do not regret it." On hearing them, the bride confronted the king and said, "O king, what destiny has given to me, no one can take it away from me." After hearing everybody and consulting his minister, the king arranged for a ceremony. He gifted the young merchant's son with 1,000 villages, apart from ornament and gold. The young man got married with the young princess, which made him the heir to the throne. The bride-in-waiting and the watchman's daughter were also married to him by their respective parents in the same ceremony. When they built their own castle, he arranged for his parents and relatives to be brought to his palace, and they lived happily ever after. The wise indeed say, "Do your best, but leave it to destiny." I hope you liked this episode. If so, please follow my podcast and my Instagram account for more such updates. The link will be given in the description box below. And also please put your comments in the poll below. Till then, bye.